Commander Jake Morrison walked across the bridge of his ship, the USS Valiant. The stars outside looked peaceful through the large windows. His crew worked quietly at their stations, checking systems and watching for any problems. The ship was 6 months old and had the best technology humans had ever built. Jake had been in space for 15 years. He started as a young officer and worked his way up to commander. The Valiant was his first command of a deep spaceship. The vessel was 300 meters long and carried 120 crew members. It had weapons, shields, and engines that no other human ship possessed before. Lieutenant Amy Carter sat at the communication station. She was 28 years old and very good at her job. Amy had learned 12 different alien languages, even though humans had never met real aliens before. The government wanted to be ready for anything. Amy suddenly straightened up in her chair. Her screen started flashing with new information. Commander Morrison, I have something big on the sensors. 37 ships are coming toward us very fast. They are not human ships. Jake moved quickly to Amy's station. He looked at her screens and saw the dots moving closer. Each dot was a ship, and they were all bigger than the Valiant. How far away are they? 2 hours until they reach us, sir. They are slowing down now, but they were moving faster than anything we have seen before. Captain Lisa Hayes worked at the tactical station. She was 35 years old and had studied every kind of weapon humans had ever made. Lisa was also an expert on ship fighting. She looked at her own screens and shook her head. Commander, these ships have energy readings I have never seen. They have very powerful weapons and strong shields. Jake called his senior officers to gather around him. This is what we trained for. We always knew this day might come. We are the first humans to meet aliens, and we need to be ready for anything. Chief Engineer Danny Rodriguez spoke up from his station. Sir, all our systems are working perfectly. The new engines are running smooth and we have full power to everything. The alien ships belonged to something called the Karathi Empire. They had conquered many worlds and made slaves of different species. Admiral Vexhai commanded their fleet from the biggest ship. He was confident that these humans would give up without a fight. The Karathi had done this 43 times before. They would arrive at a new world, demand surrender, and take control. No species had ever said no to them. Their ships were fast, their weapons were deadly, and their shields were very strong. Lieutenant Ben Parker worked at the weapons station. He was young but very smart about fighting systems. Commander, I count 37 ships. The biggest one is twice our size. They have plasma cannons and missile systems we have never seen before. Jake nodded and looked around at his crew. These people had trained for years for this moment. They were ready to protect Earth and all humans in space. Amy, try to talk to them. Use the peaceful greeting protocols. Amy pressed buttons and sent out a message in several different languages. She used mathematics and simple pictures to show that humans wanted to talk, not fight. The message traveled through space toward the alien ships. Admiral Vexhai received the human message on his ship. He laughed when he saw it. These humans were trying to be friendly, which meant they were weak. Weak species always tried to talk instead of fight. The Admiral had seen this many times before. The Karathi Admiral sent back his own message. It was the same message he always sent to new species. The words were simple. Surrender now or we will destroy you. You have 1 hour to decide. Amy translated the alien message for Jake. Her face was worried when she spoke. Sir, they want us to surrender. They say they will destroy us if we do not give up in 1 hour. Navigator Chris Taylor looked up from his station. Commander, we could run. Our engines are fast enough to get away from them. Jake thought about this option. Running away would save his crew. But it would also tell the aliens that humans were afraid. These aliens might follow them to Earth and attack his home planet. No, we stay here. This is human space and we will not run away. Security Chief Ryan Cooper checked his weapons one more time. Sir, we have never tested our new systems against alien technology. We do not know if they will work. Medical Officer Kate Sullivan prepared her sickbay for possible wounded crew members. Commander, I am ready for anything that happens. Supply Officer Grace Miller made sure all the ship's systems had enough power and materials. All departments report ready, sir. Jake looked at each of his officers. They were scared but determined to do their duty. He was proud of them all. Send a message back to the aliens. Tell them this is human space and they need to leave. Amy sent the message. The words were clear and simple. Humans would not surrender and the aliens needed to go away. Admiral Vexhai could not believe what he heard. These humans were refusing his demand. No species had ever done this before. He looked at his fleet of 37 powerful ships. Each one could destroy most enemies by itself. Together they were unstoppable. The Karathi admiral called his captains on the communication system. "Prepare for battle. These humans do not understand how powerful we are. We will show them quickly." Jake watched the alien ships on his screens. They were getting into attack formation. Their weapons were powering up, and their shields were at full strength. The aliens were ready to fight. Intelligence Officer Tony Mitchell had been studying the alien ships since they arrived. "Commander, they are using standard attack patterns. They plan to surround us and fire from all directions." Jake nodded and pressed the button for ship-wide communications. "All hands, this is the commander. We are about to fight aliens for the first time in human history. Remember your training, trust your equipment, and show them what humans can do." The crew members at their stations felt nervous but ready. They had trained for years for this moment. Their ship had the best technology humans had ever created. They were ready to defend their species and their home. Admiral Vexhai gave the order to attack. 37 alien ships fired their weapons at the single human ship. Bright plasma bolts flew through space toward the USS Valiant. Jake gripped his chair and watched the alien weapons coming at them. "Shields up. All weapons ready. Let us see what our ship can really do." The first battle between humans and aliens was about to begin. The plasma bolts from 37 alien ships flew toward the USS Valiant like bright green fire. Each bolt carried enough energy to destroy most ships in one hit. Admiral Vexhai watched from his command chair, expecting to see the human ship explode into pieces. But something impossible happened. The human ship's shields caught every plasma bolt and absorbed the energy completely. The shields did not even flicker or show any damage. The USS Valiant sat in space like nothing had touched it. Commander Jake Morrison smiled when he saw his shields working perfectly. "Shields holding at 100%. No damage to any systems." Admiral Vexhai stared at his screens in shock. His most powerful weapons had done nothing to the human ship. This had never happened before in 43 conquests. "Fire again. All ships maximum power." The Karathi fleet fired a second wave of plasma bolts, twice as many as before. The space around the Valiant filled with deadly green energy. But again, the human shields absorbed everything without any problems. Chief Engineer Danny Rodriguez called from the engine room. "Commander, the shields are working better than we hoped. They are using the alien energy to make our own system stronger." Jake pressed the communication button to talk to his whole crew. "All stations begin combat operations. Show them what human technology can do." Lieutenant Ben Parker at the weapons station had been waiting for this order. "Firing missiles, sir. Targeting their engines and weapons only." The human missiles were not like anything the aliens had seen before. They were small and fast, and they seemed to disappear and reappear as they flew through space. The Karathi tried to shoot them down, but their weapons could not hit targets that kept vanishing. Navigator Chris Taylor activated the ship's special movement system. Beginning evasive pattern. Engaging gravitational drive. The USS Valiant suddenly moved in a way that broke all known laws of physics. The ship twisted through space, moving up, down, forward, and sideways at the same time. It accelerated instantly in directions that should have been impossible. Admiral Vexhai watched the human ship dance through space like it was alive. "How are they moving like that? Our sensors cannot track them properly." The first human missiles reached their targets. Instead of exploding, they passed right through the alien shields like the shields were not there. Then they attached themselves to the Karathi ships and began shutting down their systems. Captain Lisa Hayes monitored the battle from her tactical station. "Direct hits on 5 enemy ships, Commander. Their weapons are offline and their engines are not working." The disabled Karathi ships drifted in space, completely helpless. Their crews tried to restart their systems, but nothing worked. The human weapons had somehow gotten inside their ships and turned everything off. Lieutenant Amy Carter listened to the alien communications. "Sir, they are very confused and scared. They keep asking each other how we got through their shields." Medical Officer Kate Sullivan reported from sick bay. "No injuries to any crew members, Commander. The gravitational movement is not hurting anyone." The USS Valiant continued its impossible dance through space, avoiding every alien weapon while firing its own missiles with perfect accuracy. Jake watched as more enemy ships went silent, their crews trapped inside vessels that no longer worked. Dr. Helen Brooks, the ship's science officer, studied the alien technology from her station. Commander, their shields work by deflecting energy attacks, but our missiles phase shift through different dimensions. Their shields cannot stop weapons that do not exist in normal space. Supply Officer Grace Miller kept track of the ship's resources. We are using very little ammunition, sir. These precision attacks are much more efficient than destroying whole ships. Admiral Vexai tried to contact his fleet commanders. Half of his ships were not responding to communications. The ones that still worked reported the same thing. Their weapons could not hit the human ship, and they could not stop the human weapons. Security Chief Ryan Cooper coordinated the ship's defenses. Their boarding pods cannot lock onto us while we are phase-shifting, Commander. They cannot even get close to us. The Karathi tried everything they knew. They fired all their weapons at once. They tried to ram the human ship. They launched fighter craft to attack from multiple directions. Nothing worked. The USS Valiant was like a ghost that could hit them, but could not be hit back. Intelligence Officer Tony Mitchell analyzed the enemy tactics. Sir, they are using the same attack patterns they probably used on other species. They do not know how to fight an enemy like us. Jake realized that the aliens had never faced real resistance before. Every species they conquered had been weaker than them. They did not know how to adapt when their standard methods failed. The battle continued for 20 minutes. The USS Valiant moved through the enemy fleet like it was playing a game. Human missiles found their targets every time, shutting down alien ships one by one. Lieutenant Ben Parker reported his ammunition status. 15 enemy ships disabled, sir. We still have 80% of our missiles remaining. Admiral Vexai counted his losses. 15 ships were completely helpless, floating dead in space. The human ship had not even tried to destroy them, just made them unable to fight. This showed either great mercy or great confidence. Navigator Chris Taylor kept the ship moving in patterns the aliens could not predict. They are trying to surround us, but we are too fast for them. The Karathi had surrounded and destroyed many enemy fleets before, but they had never fought an enemy that could move in 4 dimensions at once. The human ship was always somewhere they did not expect. Chief Engineer Danny Rodriguez monitored the ship's power systems. All systems running perfectly, Commander. The gravitational drive is working better than our best tests. Jake looked at his crew with pride. They were making history as the first humans to fight aliens, and they were winning easily. But he knew the real test was still coming. How would the aliens react when they realized they could not win? Captain Lisa Hayes tracked the remaining enemy ships. 22 ships still have working weapons, sir, but they are pulling back and regrouping. Admiral Vexai called an emergency meeting with his remaining captains. They had never faced this situation before. Their enemy was clearly superior in every way, but they were still alive. The human ship could have destroyed them all, but chose not to. Lieutenant Amy Carter continued monitoring alien communications. Commander, they are discussing whether to retreat or surrender. I have never heard Karathi voices sound so frightened. The USS Valiant stopped its movement and held position in the center of the enemy fleet. Jake wanted to give the aliens time to think about their situation. They were surrounded by their own disabled ships, proof of human superiority. Dr. Helen Brooks made an important observation. Sir, they could have destroyed us with their numbers if our technology was equal. But our shields, weapons, and movement systems are generations ahead of theirs. Jake nodded and opened a communication channel to the alien fleet. It was time to see if these aliens were smart enough to recognize when they were beaten. Commander Jake Morrison stood on his bridge and looked at the alien fleet surrounding him. 22 ships still had weapons, but 15 were floating dead in space. The aliens were learning that humans were not like other species they had conquered before. What the Karathi did not know was that humans had been preparing for this day for 50 years. When human scientists first detected radio signals from alien civilizations, they began the greatest secret project in human history. They called it Project Guardian. Dr. Helen Brooks explained to Jake what made their ship so special. Commander, our shields do not just block energy attacks. They redirect that energy into parallel dimensions where it cannot hurt us. The aliens are basically shooting at empty space. The gravitational drive was another human breakthrough. Instead of pushing against space, it bent space around the ship. This allowed the USS Valiant to move in ways that seemed impossible to alien observers. Navigator Chris Taylor demonstrated the ship's abilities. Sir, I can make us exist in normal space and phase space at the same time. We can shoot at them while their weapons pass right through us. Chief Engineer Danny Rodriguez had helped build the Valiant's engines. The aliens use chemical rockets and simple ion drives. We use controlled gravity fields and quantum manipulation. It is like comparing a horse to a spaceship. Lieutenant Ben Parker loaded another set of special missiles. Commander, these phase-shift warheads can pass through any known shield technology. Once they attach to an enemy ship, they shut down all electronic systems from the inside. Jake had studied reports about every alien species that humans had detected. The Karathi were known for being aggressive and confident. They had never lost a battle because they had never fought anyone with better technology. Admiral Vexhai tried to understand what he was seeing. His ships fired their most powerful weapons at the human vessel, but every shot seemed to hit nothing. Meanwhile, human weapons appeared inside his ship's shields like magic. Lieutenant Amy Carter translated more alien communications. "Sir, they are calling us ghosts and demons. They think we are using some kind of supernatural power." The Karathi had conquered 43 different species. Some had better weapons, some had stronger ships, but none had technology that seemed to break the laws of physics. The humans were fighting in ways the aliens had never imagined. Security Chief Ryan Cooper monitored the disabled alien ships. "Commander, their crews are alive but trapped. Their life support systems are working, but nothing else functions." Jake had made a decision early in the battle. He would disable enemy ships instead of destroying them. This would show the aliens that humans were powerful but not cruel. It might also give them useful information about alien technology. Captain Lisa Hayes continued her tactical analysis. "Sir, if we wanted to destroy their entire fleet, we could do it in 5 minutes. Our weapons are that much better than their shields." The human advantage was not just in individual technologies. It was in how all the systems worked together. The shields, engines, weapons, and sensors had been designed as one complete system. Intelligence Officer Tony Mitchell had been studying alien psychology. "Commander, the Karathi respect strength above everything else. They might actually become our allies if we show them enough power." Medical Officer Kate Sullivan reported on the crew's condition. "All personnel are healthy and alert. The gravitational stress from our movement systems is well within human tolerance." Supply Officer Grace Miller checked their resources. "We have used less than 20% of our ammunition and energy reserves. We could fight 10 more battles like this one." Jake opened a communication channel to the alien fleet. "Karathi vessels, this is Commander Morrison of the human ship USS Valiant. You have seen our capabilities. Do you wish to continue this fight?" Admiral Vexhai received the human message. His translator worked on the alien words, and he understood that the humans were offering him a choice. Continue fighting and lose everything, or admit defeat and perhaps survive. Dr. Helen Brooks made another important discovery. "Sir, I am analyzing their technology from the disabled ships. Their computers and weapons are at least 100 years behind ours. The gap in technology was enormous. It was like medieval knights fighting modern soldiers. The aliens had never developed quantum physics, dimensional manipulation, or gravitational engineering." Lieutenant Ben Parker prepared his next weapons load. "Commander, I have targeted all remaining enemy ships. 1 missile each will disable their entire fleet." Navigator Chris Taylor kept the USS Valiant moving in slow, graceful patterns. "Sir, they are trying to scan us, but our phase shifting makes it impossible for them to get accurate readings." The Karathi sensors showed the human ship as a blurry, shifting target that seemed to exist in several places at once. Their targeting computers could not lock onto something that kept changing dimensions. Chief Engineer Danny Rodriguez explained their power advantage. "Commander, we are running on fusion reactors that are smaller than their chemical engines but produce 50 times more energy." Jake realized that the aliens were not evil monsters. They were simply a species that had become too confident because they had never met anyone stronger. Now they were learning what it felt like to be completely outmatched. Admiral Vexhai called his remaining captains for an emergency conference. "The humans have technology we do not understand. They can hit us, but we cannot hit them. What do you recommend?" The Karathi captains had no good answers. Some wanted to retreat, others wanted to surrender, and a few wanted to keep fighting. But they all agreed on one thing. They could not win this battle. Lieutenant Amy Carter heard the alien discussions. "Sir, they are arguing about what to do. Some want to run away, but others think we will chase them and destroy them anyway." Captain Lisa Hayes studied the enemy formation. "Commander, if they try to run, we could disable the rest of their fleet before they escape. But if they surrender, we might learn valuable information. Jake looked at his officers. They had proven that humans could defend themselves against any alien threat. Now they had to decide what kind of neighbors they wanted to be in the galaxy. Security Chief Ryan Cooper made a practical point. "Sir, we cannot guard every human colony with ships like the Valiant. It would be better if potential enemies became allies instead." Dr. Helen Brooks agreed. "Commander, fear will only work until they develop better technology. Respect and friendship last much longer." Intelligence Officer Tony Mitchell had studied many different alien cultures. "Sir, if we show mercy to defeated enemies, other species will remember that when they meet us." Jake made his decision. He would give the aliens one chance to surrender and withdraw peacefully. But if they chose to keep fighting, he would show them why that was a mistake. He opened the communication channel again and prepared to make an offer that would change the relationship between humans and aliens forever. Admiral HFY stared at his command screens in growing desperation. His mighty fleet, which had conquered 43 worlds without ever losing a battle, was being destroyed by a single human ship. 15 of his vessels drifted powerless in space, and the remaining 22 were helpless against an enemy they could not even hit. The Karathi admiral had lived for 60 years and fought in hundreds of battles. He had seen plasma cannons tear through the strongest armor, watched enemy fleets break apart under Karathi firepower, and accepted the surrender of dozens of species. But nothing in his experience had prepared him for this. Lieutenant Amy Carter continued monitoring the alien communications from her station aboard the USS Valiant. "Commander Morrison, they are sending desperate messages to each other. The word impossible appears in almost every transmission. The Karathi fleet tried one more coordinated attack. All 22 remaining ships fired their weapons at the same time, concentrating their plasma bolts on one small area of space where they thought the human ship would be." Navigator Chris Taylor simply shifted the USS Valiant into a different dimensional phase. The alien weapons passed through empty space while the human ship attacked from a direction that should not have existed. Lieutenant Ben Parker fired another spread of missiles. 6 more targets disabled, Commander. Their weapons and engines are offline, but life support remains functional. Admiral HFY watched 6 more of his ships go silent on his screens. 21 vessels were now completely helpless, drifting in space like dead metal. Only 16 ships in his fleet could still fight, and they were accomplishing nothing. The Karathi had developed their military doctrine over thousands of years. They believed that superior numbers, heavy weapons, and strong shields would always defeat any enemy. Every species they had conquered proved this theory correct, until now. Captain Lisa Hayes analyzed the remaining alien ships from her tactical station. "Commander, they are pulling back and trying to regroup, but they have no effective weapons against our technology." Chief Engineer Danny Rodriguez reported from the engine room. "All systems operating perfectly, sir. We could maintain this combat pace for weeks without any problems." Jake Morrison looked at the tactical display showing the positions of all 37 alien ships. Most were disabled and the rest were retreating to a safer distance. The Karathi were learning that courage and determination could not overcome a massive technology gap. Dr. Helen Brooks studied the energy readings from the alien vessels. "Commander, their reactors are overheating from trying to boost power to their weapons. They are pushing their technology beyond safe limits." Intelligence Officer Tony Mitchell had been analyzing Karathi military behavior. "Sir, they have never faced this situation before. Their entire culture is based on being the strongest force in any battle." Medical Officer Kate Sullivan monitored the crew's stress levels. "All personnel remain calm and focused, Commander. Our people are handling their first alien combat very well." Admiral HFY called another emergency meeting with his remaining ship captains. The holographic images of his officers showed fear and confusion on their faces. "Report. Your status," the Admiral commanded. "Weapons are ineffective." "Against their shields," replied Captain Zektar of the battleship. "Dominator. Our targeting systems cannot lock onto their ship," added Captain Mordak of the heavy cruiser. "Conqueror. Their weapons penetrate our shields like they do not exist," said Captain Volan of the destroyer. Ravager Admiral HFY had heard enough. His fleet was not just losing, it was being systematically dismantled by an enemy that seemed to possess impossible technology. Lieutenant Amy Carter picked up more alien transmissions. Commander. They are discussing whether to call for reinforcements or retreat immediately. Some of them want to surrender. Security Chief Ryan Cooper coordinated the ship's defensive systems. Sir, a few enemy vessels are trying to position for ramming attacks. They cannot hurt us with weapons, so they want to try crashing into us. Jake shook his head at the alien desperation. Chris, keep us in phase shift mode. Let them pass right through us if they try to ram. Navigator Chris Taylor adjusted the ship's dimensional settings. Understood, sir. They can crash into the space where we appear to be, but we will not actually be there. 2 Karathi destroyers accelerated toward the USS Valiant at maximum speed, hoping to damage the human ship by physically colliding with it. The alien vessels passed through the exact location where the Valiant appeared on their sensors, but struck nothing but empty space. Lieutenant Ben Parker disabled both ramming ships with precision missile strikes. 2 more targets neutralized, Commander. Their crews are safe, but their ships are powerless. Admiral Vexhai realized that even suicide attacks would not work against these humans. Their technology allowed them to become intangible while still being able to attack. It was like fighting ghosts that could touch you, but could not be touched in return. Supply Officer Grace Miller reported their resource status. We have plenty of ammunition and energy remaining, sir. This battle is barely straining our systems. Captain Lisa Hayes counted the remaining active enemy ships. 14 vessels still have functioning weapons, Commander, but they are keeping their distance and seem afraid to attack. The Karathi fleet was paralyzed by fear and confusion. They had never encountered shields that absorbed all energy, weapons that passed through defenses, or ships that could exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Dr. Helen Brooks made an important observation. Commander, their retreat pattern suggests they are preparing to flee the star system entirely. They may have given up on conquering us. Jake considered his options. He could easily destroy or disable the remaining enemy ships, but letting some of them escape might serve a useful purpose. Other alien species would hear about what happened here. Intelligence Officer Tony Mitchell agreed with this strategy. Sir, if survivors return home with stories about invincible human technology, it might prevent future attacks on our colonies. Admiral Vexhai stared at the tactical display showing his crippled fleet. 23 ships were disabled and drifting. 14 still had power but were too afraid to attack. His mighty armada had been reduced to helpless scrap by a single enemy vessel. The Karathi admiral had to make the hardest decision of his military career. He had never surrendered to anyone in 60 years of fighting, but continuing this battle would only result in the destruction of his remaining ships and the death of thousands of crew members. Lieutenant Amy Carter detected a new transmission from the alien flagship. Commander, the enemy admiral is trying to contact us directly. It is not an attack message. Jake straightened in his command chair. Put it on the main screen, Amy. Let us hear what he has to say. Admiral Vexhai appeared on the bridge's main display. He was a tall reptilian creature with dark scales and golden eyes. His military uniform was elaborate, showing his high rank and many victories, but his expression showed defeat and desperation. The alien admiral spoke slowly, his words translated by the ship's computer. Human Commander, I am Admiral Vexhai of the Karathi Imperial Fleet. I have fought many battles and conquered many worlds, but I have never faced an enemy like you. Jake listened carefully to the alien's words, knowing that his response would affect relations between humans and aliens for generations to come. Admiral Vexhai continued speaking, his voice heavy with the weight of impossible defeat. We surrender, Human Commander. We beg for mercy and ask for a second chance. Admiral Vexhai stood on his bridge looking at the Human Commander on his main screen. The Karathi admiral had never asked anyone for mercy before, but he had never faced total defeat either. His proud fleet was broken, and his only hope was that these humans might show compassion to a beaten enemy. Commander Jake Morrison looked at the alien admiral and saw desperation in his golden eyes. This was a moment that would be remembered in history books. The first meeting between humans and aliens was ending with alien surrender, but what happened next would determine if humans and aliens became friends or enemies. Jake turned to his senior officers for advice. Captain Lisa Hayes spoke first from her tactical station. Commander, we could destroy their entire fleet in minutes, but they are asking for mercy, not trying to trick us. Intelligence Officer Tony Mitchell had studied alien cultures for years. Sir, the Karathi are a warrior species. For their admiral to surrender and ask for mercy shows how completely we have defeated them. This is probably the first time in their history they have done this. Dr. Helen Brooks added her scientific perspective. Commander, these aliens have families and children just like we do. Their crews are frightened and far from home. Destroying them would not serve any useful purpose. Lieutenant Amy Carter continued monitoring alien communications. Sir, I am hearing transmissions about crew members saying goodbye to their families. They think we are going to kill them all. Jake realized that his decision would set the pattern for all future human contact with alien species. Show mercy to defeated enemies and other aliens might approach humans peacefully. Show cruelty, and the galaxy would see humans as monsters to be feared. Security Chief Ryan Cooper offered a military viewpoint. Commander, letting some of them go home will spread word about human power. Other species will think twice before attacking our colonies. Medical Officer Kate Sullivan spoke from her station. Sir, we have disabled 23 ships without killing anyone. We have already shown that human technology is superior. Now we can show that humans are also merciful. Jake opened the communication channel to speak with Admiral Vex High. Admiral, you say you ask for a second chance. What exactly are you asking for? The alien admiral straightened up, trying to maintain some dignity in defeat. We ask permission to repair our ships and return to Karathi space. We will tell our government that humans are too powerful to conquer. We will recommend that the Karathi Empire seeks peace with your species. Lieutenant Ben Parker checked his weapon systems. Commander, we could easily destroy them if they try to trick us, but their weapons cannot hurt us anyway. Navigator Chris Taylor kept the USS Valiant in a position where it could attack any alien ship instantly. Sir, they cannot escape if they change their minds. Our ship is faster than anything they have. Jake thought about the consequences of his decision. If he destroyed the alien fleet, other species would fear humans but might also see them as murderers. If he showed mercy, aliens might see humans as weak, or they might see them as strong enough to be generous. Chief Engineer Danny Rodriguez spoke from the engine room. Commander, we have extra repair supplies and energy cells. We could help them fix their ships if you decide to let them go. Supply Officer Grace Miller agreed. We have more than enough materials to share, sir. Helping them repair their ships would show good faith. Jake made his decision. Admiral Vex High, I will give you the second chance you ask for. But there are conditions. The alien admiral listened carefully as Jake explained the terms. First, you will repair your ships using supplies we provide. Second, you will leave human space immediately and never return with military vessels. Third, you will carry a message to every species in the galaxy. Admiral Vex High nodded eagerly. What message do you want us to deliver? Jake chose his words carefully, knowing they would be repeated across the galaxy. Tell them that humans seek peace with all species, but we are prepared for war if necessary. Those who come to us in friendship will find friends. Those who come with conquest will find themselves outmatched. Dr. Helen Brooks activated the ship's manufacturing systems. Commander, we can produce repair kits for alien technology using their disabled ships as templates. It will take about 6 hours. Intelligence Officer Tony Mitchell was pleased with Jake's decision. Sir, this message will spread to hundreds of alien civilizations. It establishes humans as both powerful and reasonable. Lieutenant Amy Carter translated Jake's message into Karathi language and sent it to the alien fleet. She also picked up excited conversations from the alien crews who realized they were going to live. Admiral Vex High could hardly believe what he was hearing. These humans had completely defeated his fleet, but instead of destroying it, they were offering to help repair it. Commander Morrison, why are you showing mercy to enemies who came to conquer you? Jake thought about how to explain human values to an alien warrior. Admiral, humans believe that true strength includes the wisdom to know when not to use power. You came here as enemies, but you could leave as friends. Captain Lisa Hayes monitored the disabled alien ships. Commander, their crews are working to restore basic systems. With our help, they should be ready to travel in 12 hours. The USS Valiant began transferring repair supplies to the Karathi fleet. Human engineers worked with alien technicians to fix the damaged ships. It was the first cooperative effort between humans and aliens in history. Security Chief Ryan Cooper kept watch for any signs of alien treachery. All enemy weapons remain offline, Commander. They are keeping their part of the agreement. Over the next 10 hours, the alien fleet slowly came back to life. Ships that had been dark and powerless began showing lights again. Engines that had been silent started humming with energy. Medical Officer Kate Sullivan coordinated medical aid to injured alien crew members. Commander, we are sharing basic medical supplies with them. Many of their people were hurt when their ships lost power. Admiral Vexhai contacted Jake one final time before departing. Commander Morrison, I have fought many battles and conquered many worlds, but I have learned more from this defeat than from all my victories. The Karathi will remember human mercy. Lieutenant Ben Parker tracked the alien ships as they prepared to leave. All enemy vessels are moving toward the edge of our star system, Commander. Their weapons remain offline as agreed. Jake watched the alien fleet departing and felt satisfied with his decision. The first contact between humans and aliens had ended peacefully, but it had also established human superiority clearly. Navigator Chris Taylor plotted a course back to Earth. Commander, we should report this contact to Earth Command immediately. This will change everything for human space exploration. 6 months later, reports reached human colonies about changes in alien behavior across the galaxy. The Karathi had kept their word and were telling other species about human power and mercy. Intelligence Officer Tony Mitchell received these reports with satisfaction. Commander, at least 12 alien species have requested peaceful contact with humans. The Karathi story is spreading faster than we expected. Admiral Vexhai had become an unexpected ambassador for human-alien friendship. He told other species that humans were the strongest warriors he had ever faced, but also the most honorable. The story of the human ship that could have destroyed his fleet but chose mercy instead became famous across the galaxy. The USS Valiant returned to Earth as heroes. Jake and his crew had not only survived the first alien contact, they had established humanity's reputation as a species that was both powerful and wise. Dr. Helen Brooks published reports about alien technology that helped human scientists improve their own designs. The cooperation during the repair process had taught both species valuable lessons. The encounter became known as the Valiant Incident. It proved that humans could defend themselves against any alien threat. But it also showed that humans preferred peace to war when possible. Commander Jake Morrison was promoted to Admiral and given command of humanity's growing deep space fleet. Each new ship carried the same message that had worked so well at the first contact. Humans wanted peace, but they were ready for anything. Years later, when other alien species made peaceful contact with humans, they often mentioned the Karathi story. The tale of the alien fleet that attacked one human ship and begged for a second chance had become a legend that encouraged peaceful relations throughout the galaxy. Admiral Vexhai kept his promise and never returned to human space with warships. Instead, he eventually came back as an ambassador, helping to negotiate the first formal peace treaty between humans and the Karathi Empire. The galaxy had learned that humanity was a species that could not be conquered, but could be trusted to show mercy to defeated enemies. It was a reputation that served humans well as they explored the stars and met new civilizations among the infinite wonders of space.